Hey users, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. And yes guys, you read the title, you know exactly what this is that I'm reviewing, and as it was clearly teased in the last review video, yes. Because, you know, the early 2010s was an interesting and pretty good start for Disney, and in the case of live-action films, one in particularly that would come out in late 2010 would actually be a legacy sequel to a cult classic Disney live-action film from the early 1980s. And, you know, after that came out, audiences would have to wait up to 3 decades later, and when, the 2010s began, we would see this. And, you know, this was a pretty interesting wait for seeing the next installment and what the world of Tron would be like, you know, and how, obviously, with video games and technology advancing and upgrading over the years and such, and in the case of the world of Tron, yeah, amazing. So, yes, that's right, guys. I am finally reviewing from 2010, Tron Legacy. Yes. Tron Legacy, the long-awaited sequel to the first Tron film that came out in 1982. Yeah, and with the first things I have to say about Tron Legacy, well, my memory is very fuzzy on this because I feel as though that for Tron Legacy, it was one of my first early introductions knowing and being aware of the Tron franchise. I hadn't seen the first Tron film when this came out. And yeah, as I recall, my parents, we didn't see Tron Legacy in theaters because, you know, Tron Legacy was another one of those Disney live-action films that was definitely worth seeing in 3D, but also in IMAX. So, yeah, I would have known, of course, if we had seen it in theaters, but we didn't. But eventually, when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, that's when we did eventually watch it and see it. And we actually got a double feature pack, you know. I'm sure you guys recall that there was a Blu-ray release for both Tron films, the first and this. So, yeah, we had that. And I can't remember if started with the first Tron film and then this, I presume, but yeah, again, it's complicated and my memory's fuzzy, so yeah. But, you know, in having rewatched Tron Legacy, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Tron Legacy is that bad, you know, as some people feel towards it, you know what I mean? Yeah, everything that Tron Legacy has to offer with its storyline, its cast of characters, a few returning faces, some callbacks to the first Tron film, and just, again, seeing what the world of Tron is like after so many years since the last time we first saw it. And because the world of Tron was created by its user/developer, Kevin Flynn. Yeah. To, you know, visit the world of Tron again, and the grid, just, amazing. And there was no doubt, of course, that for many people over the years, that if at any point we were going to see another Tron film, obviously, the world of Tron would have a new look and upgrade, and with its technology, on account of the main city, the grid, and, you know, with the vehicles, the suits, all of that. And when the time came, oh yeah, it did not disappoint. But again, just, you know, rewatching it and remembering quite a lot that happens in this movie. Yeah, I think, you know, it's not bad. I mean, it is what it is. It may not be one of the best Disney live-action film sequels that we've had, but again, that's not to say it's god-awful. And also not to mention, to go ahead and mention, the director of Tron Legacy, Joseph Kosinski, yeah, I got his last name right. Well, I mean, years later, he would have another pretty big film of his that he would direct, that of course being Top Gun Maverick, so yeah. So before that, he directed this. And not to mention that Joseph Kosinski, is a big fan of Tron, so he obviously knew what he was doing when he found himself attached to this project. So, yeah, one of his first big films, which being this. Awesome. Good for him. But yeah, just overall, because I remember, when this movie came out, obviously at that time everybody was really looking forward to this, but, when it came out, didn't turn out as what a lot of people expected it to be, and 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, come on, is this really that bad? I don't think so, but as I said, but overall, again, I really enjoy Tron Legacy for what it is. It may not be the strongest, but it's fine, it's okay. Yeah, and if you enjoy it like I do, then hey, that's good to know. Okay, so with the first things I've had to say about Tron Legacy now out of the way, now, as always, for me, read the description / the story. Sam, the son of famous video game developer Kevin Flynn, has been haunted for a long time by his father's mysterious disappearance. A strange signal draws Sam to Flynn's arcade, and he is pulled into the same cyber world in which his father, its creator, has been trapped for 20 years. With fearless warrior Cora, Kevin and Sam seek to escape from a universe that, while magnificent, is far more advanced and dangerous than Kevin had ever imagined. Alright, so now with reading the description / the story out of the way, now let us dive into the film / break it down itself, shall we? Okay, so, well, starting off where we once again get the return of good old Jeff Bridges as Kevin Flynn himself. And by 1989, Kevin, he has a 7-year-old son by the name of Sam Flynn, and Sam Flynn, at 7 years old, being played by young Owen Best. Kevin is explaining and telling a story to his son about the adventures he's had in the grid of Tron, and with the mentionings of him, Clue, and Tron himself. And that they discovered a miracle. However, Kevin does not tell his son about the miracle yet, until the next time he has something else to tell Sam, and after, obviously, he's done with that, because, he says goodbye and goodnight to Sam as he is about to disembark, head to work, and obviously make his way back to the world of Tron. And to go ahead and mention this because by this point, and up in 1989, because Kevin, obviously, he was a married man. Unfortunately, his wife and the mother of his son had sadly passed away, and even as of now, because Sam's grandparents, Grandpa Flynn being played by Donnelly Rhodes, and Grandma Flynn being played by Belinda Montgomery. Yeah, I got that right. They're looking after and, watching over Sam. And, of course, whenever, Kevin, he's busy and such. So, again, he says goodnight and goodbye for now to his son as he heads off to work. But little did Sam know that that would, for now, be the last time he would see his father. Because, literally, the next day afterwards, well, headlines and news reports come in that Kevin had mysteriously vanished / disappeared with no trace, and yeah, this would deeply infect 7-year-old Sam and infect his personality and such. Yeah, it would change him. And in fact, there was a moment where he just ran away from home. But cut to 20 years later, and we see Sam, now older, now in his late 20s, mid/late 20s. By the time and setting of this movie, he's 27. So older Sam Flynn being played by Garrett Hedlund, talented actor, and Garrett was pretty good being in the world of Tron and playing the son of the man who created the world of Tron. Yeah, so again, 20 years later pass, and Sam, now riding a bike, he actually breaks into his father's company, Incom, and by this point, Incom is now being taken over by a new CEO by the name of Richard. Richard Mackey, being played by Jeffrey Nordling. So he's the new CEO of Incom. But obviously, his leadership of the company, not very good, obviously. Even another returning face that comes back in the first Tron sequel is, of course, Alan Bradley. Once again, being played by Bruce Boxleitner. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I got his last name correctly pronounced, but again, you know me sometimes. So, Alan, who is a part of the director's board and so on, well, I think it's obvious he's not really thrilled with the leadership Richard is taking with his best friend's company. Yeah, because obviously, as we know, Alan and Kevin being best buddies, and even Alan knew that there's no way that Kevin would just mysteriously disappear and abandon those that care for him, especially his own son. Yeah, even when he would try to talk about this with Sam, but until I get to that a little later. But yeah, so Richard showing off this new thing for Incom called OS-12, and Alan, well, he's not really thrilled by this, but that is until when Sam steps in and managing to, again, break in and, avoid being seen by the security cameras and doing something to the OS-12, switching it with a piece of footage of his dog. Well, yeah, basically, Sam made the OS-12 now free for the public, for, worldwide, and this did piss off Richard. Yeah. Also, the others that were there at, at Incom, because there was another familiar face that, doesn't have that much in this movie, but, because he's in it, and, was he? Because I could have sworn, I don't know, because I know he had to be, I recognized him, but, alright, but, anyways, I'm just saying, because, I could have sworn, okay, here he is, okay, but he's uncredited. Huh, I did not know that. Yeah, Cillian Murphy, because Cillian Murphy, has a brief appearance in this movie as those being a part of Incom, a character by the name of Edward Dillinger, so, yeah, being one of the big other guys of Incom, and, I didn't realize that he was uncredited. I'm guessing by that point, and with this movie, we knew who it is, and who it was, Cillian Murphy, so, yeah. But, Cillian Murphy, with how much we get of him in this movie, hey, it was worth it, and, he was really good. Because this is Cillian Murphy we're talking about. He's a fantastic actor. But, so, with OS-12 being out for the public, this angers Richard, and I think it's obvious that Alan knew that this was Sam's doing, and even at a certain point in when Sam tries to make a run for it, well, because he would get caught by one of the security guards, and even when Sam reveals himself that he is the son of Kevin Flynn, the security guard asking him, why is he doing this? And, he has his reasons, and establishing to the security guard that it's no longer, the family's company and so on. And especially it wasn't how it used to be when Kevin was still around. around. And so, yeah, Sam, he jumps off of the tall building of Incom. However, he does have a parachute with him. But eventually, he still manages to get caught by the police, even when he got on top of a taxi cab. But yeah, even he didn't get a chance to make his way back to his father's bike. Because yeah, he had been keeping that bike in good condition ever since, his father mysteriously disappeared. So, when he would get eventually caught by the police, yeah, he would get thrown into jail very briefly, but then he would be set free. And then we would see him at a garage that he resides in with his pet dog. And also, to mention this, Sam's dog is named Marv. So, yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. So, Alan, as I said earlier, would pay a visit to Sam in the garage he resides in. And, yeah, Alan obviously being aware that, Sam was responsible for what happened with the OS-12. But, yeah, overall, Alan shares with Sam that he has a good sense of feeling that, yeah, there's no way, for no reason, that Kevin would just leave like that and just be gone for no reason, leaving behind his son and his company and such. But Sam, just being blinded by the anger, confusion, and upsetment that went through him ever since, that happened when he was 7 years old, However, it would lead to Alan giving the keys to Sam to go to his father's arcade. And finally, after 20 years, Sam would go. He took Alan's word and he went to his father's old arcade place, Flynn's, yeah. And inside, seeing all the various arcade games, including Tron itself. Yeah. I'd like to think that probably... I don't see why not. They probably had that in the archives or something. Even if it is, I'm just saying, because obviously it would have to be the same looking arcade game that has the word Tron to it, and yeah, you get my point, but yeah. And you can let me know in the comments section if I'm correct on that. But okay, so then Sam would find himself going further into the building and finding an old, PC scanner, because... the computer technology that his father had. And, a laser would activate. And as Sam is typing out something, and yeah, seems like he's making communications, the laser behind him, and just like what would happen to his father in the first Tron film, the laser would send him to the grid of Tron. And that's where Kevin finds himself at. And just being shocked, by all that he's seeing. And it doesn't take him too long to be caught and brought in by recognizers. Then he would find himself with a group of sirens, be put in the Tron getup. They had to strip him down naked, then put the gear on him. And one of the sirens gave Sam a tidbit to just stay alive. And thus that's what he's got to do, because he would then find himself in the disc war. Yeah, because given a special disc that's attached to the back of his, Tron getup, and yeah, he would find himself in the disc wars, the games that involve discs, and each of the opponents that he's put with, and, and seeing, obviously, the main antagonists watching this, including one particularly that's masked and is watching over this, but yeah, until I mention him in a moment. But yeah, so to speed things up some, Sam finding himself in the disc war, and he seems to be getting the hang of it at first, managing to use the discs, throwing them, and managing to get and take down some of his opponents. But it wouldn't take him that long to just get immediately tired of it and try to find a way to escape and not be in this game anymore. And one of the challengers / opponents for Sam, which being that was Rinsler. Yeah, Rinsler, that's his name, whom we never see his face. Yeah, Rinsler, the body performance of Rinsler being played by Anis Chirfa, if I got the last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. But yeah, it all comes down to Rinsler taking on Sam, and at one point, Sam would start to bleed, and Rinsler would discover that this is not a program. It's a user. And Sam tried explaining that when he first got here to Tron, that he's not a program, he's a user. And when he would be questioned by one of the main antagonists named Jarvis, being played by James Frain. Yeah, I think I said that right. Last name right. Because Sam addressing that he's not a program, then the main guy in charge, with a deep booming voice, saying, identify. Then Sam saying, my name is Sam Flynn. There's an echo. And Rensler looks at him. Then the audience, they go silent. And you can see you can see from Rensler to Jarvis the look on their faces. And because they now know who it is. And the main guy saying, bring him to me. And this is where we would then see Sam come face to face with the main antagonist and the leader of these bad guys of the world of Tron. And he was mentioned earlier by Kevin himself. And and the fact that whom Sam comes face to face with looks exactly like his father, but it's not. And eventually it wouldn't take Sam that long to realize that it's not his father. He thinks it was his father at first, but no, it's not. It just so happens to be Clue. Yes, because again, Kevin did mention to Sam, when he was 7 years old about Clue, and it didn't take Sam that long to realize that this is Clue, and he looks exactly like his father, but it's obviously not his father. And if I could take a moment to talk about this, because Tron Legacy, they de-aged Jeff Bridges, not just for Clue, but also for a younger version of Kevin Flynn, whom we see at the start of this movie, and there's a couple of flashbacks at times in this movie where we do see a young Kevin Flynn. Now, because obviously with the de-aging and the CG for a young Jeff Bridges, very mixed and such, but I think it's acceptable for the character of Clue, right? Because we know what Clue is. He's not real. He's a program who looks exactly like Kevin. So I guess you can make the argument that that's acceptable, but for Kevin Flynn, who's flesh and blood, but, look, they did the best they could to make a younger version of Kevin Flynn, and, at the time of 2010, just, it's like, later films where movies had characters with, de-aged faces, like most prominently Harrison Ford in the 5th Indiana Jones film. Now, that looked pretty good, but, overall, at the same time, just, it's acceptable. It's acceptable, gotta slow down, for the character of Clue when you think about it. Because, again, he's a program, so that seems acceptable. Well, and not to mention that we do see Tron again. Tron, whom is the program that was created by Alan. We do see him again, and he too having been de-aged, but he too being a program, so that also seems acceptable. I'm just saying, and I'm sure you do get my point. Okay, but anyways, so continuing on, because, with the conversation that happens between Sam and Clue, and when, Clue revealing to Sam that, he's not Kevin, and Sam realizing that it is Clue, because when, again, his father told him about Clue, and, and Clue, once being partners with his father, now a traitor, obviously. And we would learn more and get more details, I should say, on what happened between Kevin and Clue. But in the meantime, Clue sends Sam to the lighted Tron bike, court and such, with the Tron cycles, and he challenges Sam. And, that sequence itself with, the programs along with Sam, whom, by the way, early on would be brought in as a gamer. They would make him a gamer. Yeah, just seeing them on their bikes and like in the first film, because those bikes and you know, from the vehicles to the flying contraptions, like they activate those light beams that come out, you know, and they're very dangerous. Yeah, awesome to see that, of course, once again. And from each of them, just, you know, and as this proceeds, each of them getting killed, and even when there's a moment where Sam teams up with one of the programs that's on his team to take down some of the, you know, evil programs. And then it would come down to, say, you know, Sam and Clue. However, someone intervenes in a Tron vehicle and picks up and rescues and retrieves Sam, I should say. And yeah, by getting out of there. And, well, whom has just saved Sam is none other than Cora, being played by Olivia Wilde. And yeah, to go ahead and say this, Cora, you know, she was another great character in this Tron film, with what Olivia Wilde brought to the performance of Cora. Cora being this very kind and sweet program, and especially towards Sam. And not to mention that, yeah, because she has a connection with Sam's father, who we see in just a moment. But yeah, so they make a run for it, and they go to this this hilltop, and yeah. And that's when Sam would finally reunite with his father. Yep, where we finally see Jeff Bridges as Kevin Flynn present. Yeah, and we see Kevin meditating, and when Cora informs Kevin that, you know, a guest has arrived, and which being his son. And a great reunion between both of them. And Kevin obviously knows that there's a lot of questions that Sam wants to ask, but yeah, that all can be discussed during dinner time, and yeah, that's what happens. And by the way, because it is interesting that, you know, even in the world of Tron, that they too have beverages and food and such. Yeah, and how it looks in the world of Tron, because, you know, seeing the liquid and the food and all that stuff, pretty interesting how it's done in the world of Tron. But yeah, so over dinner time, Kevin would then explain to Sam on what all has happened and why he mysteriously disappeared and never came back. He explains to Sam that, well, he, along with Clue and Tron, were working on a perfect system, all three of them working together, and at one point, they had an out-of-nowhere encounter with something new that emerged from the grid. Yeah, because, you know, Kevin explains the grid's creation, the emergence of the first ISOS. Yeah, I think I said that correctly. Which being human-like programs. And, you know, and Kevin felt that his biodigital genetics would change the world. However, there would be a moment where Clue would flat out betray Flynn and Tron. And because, yeah, after Flynn embraced the ISOs, yeah. Yeah, because Clue didn't like that at all. So, yeah, so that it would lead to Clue betraying, again, Flynn and Tron. And Tron, he would make the ultimate sacrifice for Kevin to save his life and to hold back Clue and so on, as well as all the other programs that are taking Clue's side. And, yeah, sadly and ultimately, Tron would get killed, so, yeah, that's unfortunate. And, well, you know, Kevin, he fled out of there, and just, yeah, and from there on, Clue would take over the main part of the grid of Tron and overseeing the human-like programs that would emerge from the grid's creation. And then it's brought up about how to get out of the world of Tron, because, yeah, the only way to get out is, well, going through the portal, which Sam, when he arrived, yeah, it did open. However, this thing, which being the page, yeah, because Kevin, he refuses to leave, and because, yeah, him being aware of the page, because the page, and it says right here, because the page being a crypted message that was supposed to go to Alan, but with Sam having retrieved it, and, yeah, well, because Alan was supposed to get the page, supposedly by clue, that's what Kevin believes, basically to lure Alan to the digital world and to force him to reopen the portal that traps Flynn within the grid. And the message being attempted by Clue, yeah, to gain access to the outside world. And yeah, basically, Clue is planning and attempting to conquer mankind. Yeah, but we have the third film for that, but that's another story. But yeah, so with that, yes, again, Sam, he would get his hands on the page, and yeah, eventually would serve as a suitable replacement to open the portal, but yeah. And things do get a bit out of hand between Sam and Kevin, but yeah, it doesn't take too long for them to, of course, patch things up. Then there's a moment where Cora mentions to Sam that he should probably go seek and get help from a musical program whom helped the ISOs, and yeah, that's the correct way to call them. Yeah, the ISOs. Yeah, this musical program who helped the ISOs during the Purge, and I'll mention the Purge in a moment, because yeah, to go seek this musical program to maybe possibly he can be of some help to get to the portal and from there on. Yeah. And this musical program being named Zeus. Yeah. Okay, and to go ahead and mention The Purge, because, yeah, as it would be brought up by, yeah, each Kevin and most prominently Cora, The Purge, or as it's also referred to, the ISO War, it was the name given to the monumental act of genocide within the Tron system. Instigated to fully integrate ISOs from the system. So yeah, that's what the Purge is all about. Interesting. Yeah, so, and by the way, because more moments between Sam and Cora, yeah, they're pretty good. And I think it's obvious that, they would, of course, begin a relationship and such. And not once did they kiss. You realize that? But not that I'm complaining. I'm just saying, like, even if it was necessary. But, point being, is that the moments that they share at times in this movie, well, a few where, yeah, in the tower that Cora and Kevin reside in on the hilltop, well, we do see a little, like, Easter egg and homage to something from the first Tron film, a vintage Tron cycle, yeah, Tron bike and such. Really cool to see that, and how Kevin especially has been keeping it in good condition, and managed to, still be, physically there, and, obviously since the world of Tron having been evolving and upgrading and such, and with, in the case of the vehicles in the world of Tron, the grid of Tron, yeah, it's obvious. But that's really cool to see that we see that inside of the tower. Also, another moment where Cora shows Sam some shelves of books where, yeah, books that she had read and, that Kevin had read, obviously, including one that has been her favorite, Jules Verne. Yeah. And, Jules Verne being a big part of Disney in the case of Tomorrowland. So, yeah, Jules Verne's work being a huge influence on Tomorrowland, obviously. So, yeah, that's a nice mention of Jules Verne. And, yeah, because Cora, having now admired the work and writing of Jules Verne. Nice. All right, so then Sam, he would make his way into town, hiding his face, with a hood, and he would encounter one of the sirens he encountered and interacted with some. And the siren, whom we then know her name being Jem, and Jem being played by Beau Garrett. Yeah. So Jem helps out Sam go to find and meet with Zeus at the End of Line Club. Yeah, that's nice, yeah, because the line End of Line from the first Tron film that the Master Control had most prominently said, end of line. Yeah, because I just, because that just popped in my head, and of course, but yeah. And this club, being a lavish high-rise nightclub in Tron City, and that serves as a social hub for the grid's programs, and a clandestine, if I pronounce that right, meeting place for rebels. Yeah. And obviously rebels who resist over Clue's leadership. So yeah, then Sam, he encounters not Zeus, but a program by the name of Castor, being played by Michael Sheen. Yeah, and this is the second Disney live-action film that Michael Sheen would be in as well. Earlier that same year, he was in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland as the White Rabbit. Yeah, so good for Michael Sheen being in 2 big live-action Disney films that same year. So, Sam encountering Castor, and Castor will take Sam to meet with Zeus. Meanwhile, Kevin does discover that Sam has left, and yeah, when he would realize that he had gone into town, and yeah, Kevin's gonna go into town to save and retrieve his boy. And after both Kevin and Cora left, well, in the nick of time, after they left, Clue and his army, they showed up, invading the tower they reside in, and with what they're looking for. And when Clue has a flashback to when, Kevin promised to Clue that they would change the world, and this provokes him, and it sends him in a brief bit of rage, but yeah. So then, Castor, coming back to Sam at the End of Line Club, Castor would then reveal himself to be Zeus. Yeah, okay, and still to speed things up some, then, and if it wasn't obvious that, even Cora, she didn't really know what was to happen when, she recommended to Sam to go see Zeus. Well, yeah, Zeus would end up betraying Sam, and not much help for Sam then to get to the portal, because, Clue's army, his troops show up, and yeah, a fight begins. And, Cora and Kevin, they would show up. Cora emerges first and helps out Sam. They both fight. And then at one point it would lead to Cora losing her left arm. Jeez. But she manages to survive after this. Yeah, she's knocked out, but yeah, she would recover after this a little later. Then, yeah, Kevin showing up, handling everything, the situation, and all of them escaping, and going to be making their way to a solar cell to now make progress and get to the portal. However, at one point, Zeus manages to steal Kevin's disc, and yeah, Kevin's disc, which being referred to as the identity disc, is a very important thing that Clue needs, because, the identity disc, basically, it also reputed, if I'm mispronouncing that word, to be a master key of sorts, and providing the only means by which programs might potentially escape into the real world. So, yeah, it's obvious why Clue would need that disc in order to, really get to the other side and get to the real world and to conquer. Yeah. So again, as I said, Zeus, he manages to get his hands on the disc, and yet, all 3 of them, they manage to escape. The elevator's going down fast that they're in. Kevin manages to stop it, and then they would make their way into the solar cell, and from there on, make their way to where the portal is, and to just get out of this hellhole. And hopefully for Kevin, there's a chance he might be able to get out of the world of Tron, and after 20 years, make it back to home. Yeah, the real world. And man, because Kevin had definitely missed out quite a lot. In fact, to go ahead and mention this, there was a pretty funny moment where, because Sam gives his father everything that had been happening over the past 20 years. A lot of stuff had changed and evolved, and with technology, now there's Wi-Fi, and even Kevin having mentioning about keeping his father's bike in good condition. And even earlier, when all three of them, they had dinner, mentionings, and Kevin wondering what Sam had been doing for the past 20 years, if he had a job, had a wife, girlfriend, but, for Kevin, Sam, he does mention that, he has a dog, and Kevin, because, saying that dogs are cool. It's kind of a bit of an awkward moment, but yeah. But yeah, again, just that moment where, Sam has his father be caught up on what all has changed over the 20 years is a pretty good moment, and yeah, and obviously Kevin being very impressed that the technology, and after over 20 years, really advancing. Yeah, and because, of course, Kevin being quite the expert at electronics, and in the case of arcade games. And also, I didn't talk about both of them. Just, can't leave out Alan Bradley, because, both Jeff Bridges and Alan Bradley both coming back for the first Tron sequel. Yeah, because it was great to see them. And once again, both being great talented actors, and it was great to see both of them back. And even though, because they don't really share any screen time together, well, I mean, with the exception of, seeing younger versions of Kevin and Tron in the world of Tron, but still, both Kevin and Alan in the flesh, you know what I mean? Just seeing both of them back, it was great. And by the way, because I did read this where Bruce Boxleitner being a part of Tron Legacy, that was kind of a last minute thing or something, because a cry from fans, and so nice to see that they managed to incorporate and bring back Bruce Boxleitner as both Alan and Tron in Tron Legacy. And for Jeff Bridges, because, coming back as good old Kevin Flynn, and not to mention him playing the main antagonist, Clue. Fantastic. And, I feel as though, and I think I make a good point where, 2010, was a big year for Jeff Bridges, because there was this, and earlier that same year, he was in one of my top favorite films, the True Grit remake as Rooster Cogburn. So, two biggies for Jeff Bridges that same year. Okay, so again, just overall, with both Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner coming back for the first Tron sequel, fantastic. Two great talents, definitely. Okay, so back to where I was, because, then there's a moment where Clue, he meets up with Zeus, and basically Clue had a secret Kevin's Disc deal with Zeus, basically, in exchange of the disc, control of the city. But that deal backfires, and Clue didn't keep his word to Zeus, and this would lead to Clue and his men placing bombs around the tall building where, Zeus and Jem are in. And also not to mention that Jem, whom was nice and helped out Sam earlier, she too would be a flat-out traitor. Jeez, I almost said trailer, but traitor. So ultimately, both Zeus and Jem, they would be killed in the hands of Clue by the bombs that were placed, and Clue saying to them, end of line. And when they disembark, boom, that's when the bombs go off, and that's the defeat and demise of both of Castor/Zeus and Jem. Well, because, Clue, he saw no potential for them, especially, Zeus getting control of the city, because, I think it's obvious that not even Zeus can outwit someone like Clue running everything in the world of Tron, you know what I mean? Just, So coming back to Kevin, Sam, and Cora, because, Kevin, now in the middle of helping regenerate Cora's left arm that she lost during the fight at the club, and this is where Sam would discover that Cora is an ISO. Yep, she is one indeed, and actually, according to Kevin, she's the last one still standing. And, well, when, Cora's arm would then regenerate, and, she would get a new left arm, and, Kevin leaving Cora to reboot, and she would wake up, and, more nice interactions and moments between Cora and Sam. And Cora would explain to Sam that Kevin discovered her and saved her after the Purge. And then Cora asks Sam what it's like in the real world, and with the mentioning of the sun. And, even Sam, he never has had to explain this to anybody, because, he simply explains to Cora that what the sun is like. It's warm, and just something about the sunlight, like, especially, morning times when the sun rises, just something beautiful about that. And Kevin, he did overhear this, and he did smile, because, I think we're thinking what he's thinking, because, having a good feeling that, Sam and Cora have a good future together, and that, Sam is in good hands with Cora, and Cora is in good hands with Sam, But then, eventually this would lead to where all three of them, on the solar ship and such, because the solar sealer, it hits the receiver, if I said, receiver, basically this large carrier ship, and they're getting very close to the portal, but they make a very unusual discovery on this large carrier ship. And obviously, because this, being done in the hands of Clue with what's on this large carrier ship that they discover. They discover that there are these programs in cargo modules that have been rearranged by Clue, and when, at one point, Rinsler is present and investigates, and when, Rinsler discovers the presence of all three of them, and when Cora tries to take on Rinsler, and it would lead to Kevin realizing that Rinsler is actually Tron, being rearranged by Clue. Now, we have Tron, who has now been programmed to follow Clue's, guidance and, his leadership and such, being turned into the dark side, And Cora would then give her CD to Sam and turn herself in to, over to Rinsler and, being caught and such. And Sam, he's not going to leave Cora behind, and not to mention that this is also a great opportunity to retrieve his father's disc that was taken by him. So thus that's what happens. They split up once again, Sam going to locate and rescue Cora, and in addition, retrieving his father's disc. And by interrogating Jarvis, wanting to know where the disc is, as well as Cora, but and just in the nick of time, Cora with Rinsler shows up, and a fight between Rinsler and Sam, and when Cora helps out as well, and ultimately, Sam, he manages to take down Rinsler for now, and saving Cora and retrieving his father's identity disc. So then Sam and Cora, they meet up with Kevin, who's taken one of Clue's warships, reprogramming it. The color of the lights change, and Clue discovering that the identity disc has been taken, and he kills Jarvis because Jarvis failed him, but at least he spares Rinsler, because Rinsler, he survived after being taken down by Sam, and he's frustrated by this as well. And what happens next is Clue, Rinsler, and all the other troops, they activate their special warships, with those sticks they have, and summoning their warships. And another pretty cool sequence, the warship chase sequence. Them flying in the sky. Sam takes the weapons, the guns, and trying to take down the warships led by Clue. And even when at a certain point, Kevin trying to reach out to Rinsler, who's actually Tron, and eventually he would. And luckily, Rinsler, he's, no longer being Rinsler, but Tron is back and, saying to himself that I only serve for you. So, he comes back as Tron and helps take down Clue by ramming into his warship. And, both of them are falling. Clue goes after Rinsler as they're falling down. And, this would lead to where, Tron, having sacrificed himself, he would die. He would fall into the sea of the world of Tron. And right before he died, drowning, the light colors of his Tron suit would change. So, it was great to see for a brief moment that Tron did come back, but in the end, he made a great sacrifice to help a friend of his. That was great to see. And there was a quick moment where Kevin asked Cora to do something for him. What could it possibly be? Well, even if you would figure it out immediately, like, oh, is this where I think it's going? It for sure does. So, they all finally make their way to where the portal is. And, well, they just so happen to come face-to-face with Clue, which, unfortunately, Tron was not able to take down once and for all. So Clue is still alive and standing and is going to do whatever it takes to prevent them from leaving and to still try to make his way to the real world. And, an interaction between Kevin and Clue, and that, merely following orders and such. And, because Kevin apologizing to Clue on something that he didn't really realize and so on, and with what they specifically say. And, Clue just trying to go after the identity disc and so on. Sam making his way to the portal. And, even when Clue, he supposedly got his hands on the identity disc, it was actually not the identity disc. It was actually the disc of Cora's, because we see a holographic image of her, and it's the wrong disc. He got the wrong disc. Kevin and Cora, they swapped discs. Nice on them. And, Sam, he's got the main disc of his father's, the identity disc, to get their way back to the real world. And, in order to stop Clue from going after Sam and Cora, this is where Kevin makes the ultimate sacrifice. And, Sam, he's not going to leave without his father, but there's no other choice. Kevin, he integrates with his digital duplicate, Clue. Using a lot of energy, destroying both and preventing Clue from invading the real world, and by taking down the grid, and just in the nick of time, both Sam and Cora, in a few seconds, they escaped the world of Tron, and everything exploding, a blast wave, the grid being destroyed, and with it, both Kevin and Clue. But this would not be the last time we would see Kevin. Again, that's another story. But so what happens next is that, the epilogue/aftermath. Back in the real world at Flynn's arcade, Sam puts the world of Tron in a chip, and he once again is interacting with Alan, and telling Alan that he is going to be getting control of his father's company once again. So nice to see that Sam's going to be doing that and such, and and overall, things are gonna look better than ever for Incom. Kevin's business company, and now that Sam being a part of Foley and so on. So then, outside of Flynn's arcade, we see Cora. Now she's in the real world and asking Sam, what now? And, well, Sam has something to show Cora. They ride on his bike. Well, yeah, it was once his father's bike. Now he's driving it. And, well, the last scene we get is Cora, for the first time ever, seeing the sunrise. And she's amazed by it and happy at the same time. And yeah, this was a very nice and sweet happy ending right here. Yep, because it's nice to see that Cora, the last ISO, you know, after all she went through, managing to survive and up to where, yeah, she managed to leave the world of Tron alongside with Sam. Yeah, and, you know, Sam got the girl in the end. The right one for him especially. Yeah. Yeah, and yet again, like, the nice and sweet interactions and moments between Sam and Cora, yeah, if it was not obvious from the start, you know, that they make a cute couple. And no doubt that, their future looking pretty good. Yeah. Makes you wonder because, like, could Cora provide babies or something? I don't know. I'm just simply saying, okay? I don't want to make it sound gross, but bear with me. Okay, but just overall, that was a great way to end off Tron Legacy. A nice happily ever after for Sam and Cora. And possibly, hopefully, if by any chance that maybe Sam's father Kevin could possibly still be alive, but we know by now, of course. Just, but Tron Legacy. A pretty good, decent, you know, Disney live-action film sequel, in my opinion. Like I said, you know, yeah, it's not the best, and, you know, it wasn't what everybody really expected it to be, obviously, but at the same time, it's not god-awful or anything, at least in my opinion, and maybe you guys would feel the same way too. Just, from the storyline, the cast of characters, callbacks to the first Tron film, and with, you know, returning cast members, Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner, and with, new faces stepping in the world of Tron from Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, James Frain, Bew Garrett, Michael Sheen, Cillian Murphy, that's how his first name's pronounced. The list goes on. They were all fantastic in Tron Legacy. Jeff Bridges also playing the main antagonist, Clue. The de-age effects done on Jeff Bridges. Again, it definitely was acceptable and worked with the character of Clue. Don't you think? Just, And because the CG and visual effects in Tron Legacy, fantastic, top-notch. And obviously, some stuff that was practical. Like, obviously, with the Tron suits and a couple of stuff here and there, the sets, and with Joseph Kosinski's direction, he did a pretty good job directing this. And again, seeing as how that he is a huge fan and admirer of the first Tron film. And the music and score, the music and score in Tron Legacy was pretty good. And if any of you like me that played Disney Infinity, how bits and pieces of the music and score of Tron Legacy was in the game with those packs of Tron stuff. Oh, I remember most prominently that. And hey, when both Sam, Flynn, and Cora, they would be playable characters in Disney Infinity. That was pretty awesome. And just everything about Tron Legacy, while not the best, it's okay for what it is, and I enjoy it. And again, I'm sure the same goes for some of you. And if you didn't enjoy it, you really couldn't get into it, hey, we're entitled to our opinions, okay, on how we feel about Tron Legacy. And especially, on account of the first Tron film, that didn't do good either. And if you want to go check out my review of the first Tron film, But at the same time, the first Tron film, the Tron franchise, growing a cult following and just, being some memorable live-action pieces of Disney material. Okay, so, I'm giving Tron Legacy, why not? And with how much I've enjoyed it. I enjoy it and so on. 7 out of 10 stars. Yes, 7 out of 10 stars for Tron Legacy. And what about you guys? What did you think of Tron Legacy itself? Any of you that got to experience this in theaters, if you got to experience it in 3D, IMAX, or if you later saw it, like me, on DVD and Blu-ray, and I presume most of you would have seen the first Tron film before seeing this. Yeah. What were some of your favorite moments, and with the characters, and do you think that looked amazing and stunning with how the world of Tron looked by the events of this film? Just, yeah. Just, overall, what did you think of Tron Legacy itself, and if it's one of your, favorite, top favorite Disney live-action film sequels? And yeah, with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments, and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Tron Legacy. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and until the third Tron film, where, yeah, this time those from the world of Tron come to our world. Oh yeah. Peace out.